the spectrum auctions have just concluded. The government has garnered 1,09,874 crore rupees from sale of airwaves. But telecom companies, today we interviewed Idea Cellular, we have also been talking to the COAI, Bharti, Airtel, Vodafone. All companies are complaining that it was the pressure of continuing their operations that prompted these companies to bid so aggressively, and now that they have had to bid so aggressively, it is the customer who is going to suffer. The tariffs will have to inevitably go up, and going forward network expansion is also something that will slow down.
I don't think this argument is correct. In fact, what can we do, what as a government we can do to ensure that the market is competitive and there is enough supply of the spectrum? What you can see in the present spectrum, 67% of extra spectrum has been provided for the auctions. And the expiring licenses, they were giving approximately 35% of the spectrum, rest of that has come as a fresh spectrum. So enough spectrum availability has been ensured in the market. So with that enough availability of the spectrum, and now much of it has been picked up, so the spectrum availability in the market will increase. And if you see the amount of the money which has come through the spectrum auction, this spectrum has been given for 20 years, and if you give it for 20 years, per annum expenditure is hardly 5,300 crores. And the turnover of this industry at the moment, at the present rate, is approximately 2 lakh crores. When it is 2 lakh crores, 5,000 crores is not much. And if you divide with the number of the minutes which are being used at the moment, the whole amount of 5,300 crore, it comes approximately 1.3 paisa per minute, which is hardly any amount.
So this is an argument that has been put forth by the telecom minister as well. But what telecom companies are saying is that they are going to now have to take more loans, and they will come under debt. There is already a Bharti Airtel which at the end of March 2014 had a debt burden of 60,542 crore rupees. If you see Arcom, 41,978 crore rupees, and Idea Voda also with a debt burden of around 20,000 crore rupees. So the companies are mired in this. It is very difficult for them to take a business decision, because on one hand it is about continuing their operations, and on the other it is about increasing this debt burden, and they are saying that this is one of the reasons why tariffs will have to go up.
Tell me, which industry runs without the loans? All the big industries, they have to take loan for any industries and businesses, and when the banks are giving them loans, the banks have very stringent norms up to which amount they can give loan or how much should be equity. They will not give loan until the industries are meeting those norms. And the banks also do due diligence while giving the loan. Now once these industries, all of these industries, when you see, they have a debt amount, but they have the debt servicing charges. And whatever are debt servicing charges, after paying that, all of them are in profit. They are not making losses. So once they are making profit, and they have been conscious, and they have been confident of this thing, this much of money they can raise from the banks and from the market. That is why they have gone for the auction. And they have made their prudent business decision. They have, I believe, they have faith in the system of they have the faith in the present transparent government and the future telecom growth. And see those two things into account, they have bid in this thing. And I'm sure they will be in a position to raise this much of loan from the market and from the banks. This will not be a problem.
So you don't feel that it was the limited availability of spectrum and the pressure on telecom companies to ensure that they must win back spectrum in renewal circles that prompted the government and enable the government to raise the kind of revenues that it has?
I will tell you, we have made that much of spectrum available. Even this spectrum which we have made available, all of this amount has not been picked up. Even that spectrum which was in 900 megahertz, which has come out basically by the companies, which was the licenses were going to expire, even that spectrum has not been completely lifted up. Many of the companies have shifted from 900 to 800 megahertz, and they have taken up an increase of megahertz also. So the availability of spectrum is definitely not an issue. And once that is not an issue, I don't think the companies are going to face a problem.
So, but maximum bidding has taken place in the renewal circles. How do you counter that?
This is basically their business decision. They have compared the different spectrum available, and they have compared how much they are going to invest in 900 megahertz and how much additional investment will be required in other megahertz. And based on that, this is the first time when we have made them available such a big choice. All the spectrum auction has taken place simultaneously. They had a choice all the time throughout the auction to keep on comparing. If I take 900 megahertz at such and such price, I am getting 800 megahertz such and such price, I am getting 1800 megahertz such and such price, and 2100 megahertz such and such price. Where should I go? And this way, their choice was much, much wider. And whatever decision they have made a very prudent decision. And I'm sure that will do good to them.
While you say that telecom companies have made a prudent business decision, a former telecom minister, Kapil Sibal, actually went ahead and said that the objective of the auctions was profit maximization, revenue maximization, and it was not maximizing the customer's experience and customer satisfaction. Do you feel that now, even though you are saying that tariffs would not go up, companies will use this as an opportunity to spike prices, and ultimately it's the customers who is going to suffer?
What I am saying, if the government objective would have been to increase the revenue gain, then why should have they put up so much of new spectrum on the auction? It was not very difficult for us to keep the auction one after another. It was very easy for us not to bring the 21 megahertz from the army. This issue was pending for the last 7-8 years. The earlier government could not solve it. And in this government, ultimately within a period of 3 to 4 months, this matter was solved and we have put it on the auction. Even for 800 megahertz, even for 1800 megahertz, we have put all the spectrum which was available to the government on the auction. The purpose was basically the public should get the maximum possible benefit. For the government, the consumer benefit is the biggest thing. And for the consumer benefit, it is necessary that the maximum possible spectrum should be used. And that is why whatever spectrum was available with the government, that was put on the auction.
But what about consumer experience? Consumers were waiting for rollout of 3G and 4G services. But if you see the manner in which companies are rolling out 3G and 4G services, it's pretty low. And most of them are saying that it's simply because the revenues that they are able to generate from sale of these services, even though they are picking up, it's something that is not up to the mark, and particularly 4G service rollout is suffering on account of the manner in which data service penetration is taking place in the country, and also these auctions which happen every year. While it is a source of revenue for the government, the companies find it difficult to expand their networks.
Whenever you have new spectrum, there is no other way to give it to the telecom service provider other than the auction. So whenever you are saying the auction is taking place every year, this means that more and more spectrum is being put for the market to the market.
But most of it is because licenses are coming up for renewal.
This is this time. But even this time, only 35%, as I told you, was the spectrum which has come out of the RSs which are expiring. Rest of the spectrum is the new spectrum. So this new spectrum coming in the market, definitely the things are going to become better. And the biggest thing which has happened, which people are not probably giving that much attention, whatever 900 megahertz has come for the auction, this was earlier can be used only for the 2G spectrum, 2G services. Now this spectrum is liberalized spectrum. This can be used for 3G services. This can be used for LTE services, and I'm sure these companies will be putting it to better use through 3G and LTE services. And definitely the consumer is going to get advantage of that.
Do you think the government's Digital India mission in any manner would get impacted because of the outcomes of these spectrum auctions? Even before the auctions actually kick-started, you had CEOs of telecom companies, including Martin Peters from Vodafone, saying that the high reserve price will eventually lead to a high market discovered price, and this is going to impact the Digital India mission of the government.
The reserve price is important only whenever the things are going only at reserve price. But whenever after the reserve price, when the market is open for the competition, when it is open, then they discover their own price. And in most of the cases, out of the 61 offerings which have been taken up, more than 50 offerings have gone above the reserve price. And if they have gone above the reserve price becomes meaningless there, in the sense that has not any bearing on the market discovered price. The market discovers its own price. In different band, in different places, different kind of increase has taken place over the reserve price. So I don't think the reserve price was very high. Even in fact, this auction has proved that our reserve prices calculations are not wrong. They were right.
So does it mean that next year when the auctions take place, the reserve price would be much higher, or can we expect the government to treat the market discovered price as the reserve price for the auctions next year?
This is a very hypothetical question in the sense that the process of the reserve price fixation is basically depends on the TRAI recommendations. So first the TRAI recommendation.
But the government never agrees with the TRAI.
We have agreed by and large. There are hardly any points. There are hardly any point, very few places where we have not agreed with them. By and large, our reserve price has been the same which the TRAI has recommended.
All right, but now that the spectrum auctions have concluded, what is your vision for the telecom industry 5 years down the line? Because what the telecom companies are saying is fairly different from what the government is saying, even though everybody believes that digital growth is the way forward for the telecom industry. What kind of incentives can we expect from the government, and what would be the vision of the telecom ministry for this industry?
One thing is that with the liberalized spectrum coming up now, because the spectrum is now no longer related to this thing. Whatever new spectrum has come in last two auctions also and this auction also, this is not related to any technology. Any technology can come. So the broadband, whenever you talk of broadband, this is basically two form of medias. One is through the wireless system, another is through the landline or optical fiber system. Now the spectrum becoming liberalized, this liberalized spectrum can be used to give much better services broadband through wireless systems. More and more spectrum is coming in the market. This is also going to be used for the broadband system. There is a huge growth taking place of the broadband through the wireless also, and this more spectrum and liberalized spectrum will be ultimately benefiting the consumer. The second is basically taking the optical fiber network to the homes and to the villages. For that, you already know this project of taking the optical fiber to the villages, that is going on. Government is giving a lot of thrust. And this also we have a vision to take it in next 2 years to the masses and to all the villages. So with these two things coming up, I am sure the broadband penetration will increase multifold.
Do you feel in the midst of all this, there is any need for the government to come out with a concrete spectrum trading, sharing policy, and also provide some sort of a vision when it comes to mergers and acquisition? Because it's been an age-old, long-standing debate that consolidation is something that is required as far as the telecom industry is concerned. But every year we see that the number of telecom operators does not really come down, even though there are a lot of rumors which one hears of. So what is it that the telecom sector is headed towards?
Let us go for first spectrum trading and sharing. Spectrum trading and sharing is very much in the government's mind, very much in the government's agenda. TRA recommendations have come. It has been already examined in our department. And whenever the next Telecom Commission meeting is held, we will be putting it up before them. And I believe in next 3 months, we will be in a position to give out these spectrum trading and sharing guidelines. Now it comes a consolidation in the market. The government is no one to decide whether the market should be consolidated or there should be more competition. We have to just ensure that there should be no monopoly. And for ensuring that there is no monopoly, we have some kind of spectrum caps. So these spectrum caps are basically to ensure there is no monopoly. But how many players should be in the market, that market has to decide. Whether the consolidated market is better or the proliferation of number of players where the competition is much more, that is better.